Alright, so welcome to my UFO sightings dataset website. This project focuses on the sightings dataset and visualizes the data and making that data easier to navigate through and search through. So this dataset is a fairly large dataset with over 117,000 rows. So quite a bit of data to go through and work with. So as we scroll down here, we have this div container with the 5 most recent reports, and I used a HTML table tag to have the data laid out in this way as you see. Also having some CSS in the container to have this scroll inside of it. This will be more important later on when we get more data coming in with more than just 5 rows. And then scrolling down more, we get to see the bottom of the page where I set up a subscribe form where a user can type in their name, email, city, and state. And if this is a regularly updated data set, I could have this program in a way where the information the user has typed in can be saved to a database. And each time a new entry into the data set comes in, the program would check if any of the users saved to the database has that city and state in their column. And if true, we would send out a automated email alerting them to the new sighting in their area. Pretty useful, I think. Alright, so let's move on and let's scroll back up a bit, and we see here there are 4 different tags here that the user can click on. We have the latest, which is the one that we are on, and you can see that by the underline under the text. Next is the month, which shows all of the sightings in the month. Then we have the statistics where I show shape of the UFO and state percentages. And finally, we have the info, which is a simple information tag that explains where the dataset is coming from, which in this case is the National UFO Reporting Center dataset. And slightly above the latest month and statistic tags, we have a search bar. This is a very useful and important function to have on a website like this, especially dealing with such a large dataset, where you would want the user to be able to navigate through the data that is easy and gets them directly to the information they are looking for. In this case, we have it set up so that the user can search for the city and the state. And what this will do is that once they type in their desired location and press enter, I have a backend function that takes the data that the user has typed in, calls another function that takes in the 2 separated values of city and state, and searches through the entire dataset, only selecting the columns with the city and state values that the user wants, and finally returns those values in a separate list. So for this, let's demonstrate this, and let's go ahead and pick a city of Seattle, comma, Washington. Now the comma is also very important, just for something to remember. Now before I press enter, there was an issue I had here to deal with. So a user might not always type out the state name. They might abbreviate down to just the state code or just type in the state itself. So I had programmed it to take care of all of those different conditionals. And so now that we press enter, we can actually see all of the rows being selected in that city and that state. And now let's go ahead and type in the city again with the abbreviated state code. And as you can see, that also works as well. And finally, let's go ahead and type in just the state. And then you can see that we get all of the results from the state itself. Now, going back home and going back to the latest month and statistic tags, let's click on the month one, scroll down, and we can have all of the rows and sightings of the month. Now, the dataset is lastly updated back in December of 2022, and I don't know how regularly the UFO Data Center actually updates their datasets. And now moving on to the statistic tag, scroll down and we have the statistics of the dataset. Now I formatted it in a way that has the stats of these 2 columns, which is the state and the shape of the UFO. So starting with the shape, we have the UFO shapes going in order to most to least common. Then on to the right side of the table, we have the total percentages of cases, or X number out of total number of rows. The same with the state tag down here. And finally, if we click on the info tag, scroll down, and we see the minor information about the dataset and where we get the information from. Now, scrolling back up to the top, we have links up here: home, statistics, about, and contact. Home and statistics being what we have gone over already. So let's go ahead and click on the about link. Now this brings us to the about section of the site where the user would get more information, and finally after that we can go ahead and click on the contact page where the user can type in a message if they so choose to get in contact with whoever. And now let's go and return home. So this website was built using Python's web framework Flask, using Python's library Pandas for the data analysis focus of the entire website, and the standard HTML, CSS, and JavaScript was used for minor functionality in the website. Overall, this has been my UFO dataset website, and I hope you enjoyed it.